The 5 a.m. alarm, when life forces you awake at 5 a.m. Everything changed. When the day didn't start normally at 5 a.m., everything changed. Not because the sun came up, not because the clock rang, but because something inside you snapped awake. This was not a normal morning. Normal morning. You felt it? That tight feeling that says something is off. Life has a way of shaking you when you've been drifting. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It pulls you out of sleep. This moment wasn't about time. It was about truth showing up without warning. Some people wake up gently. Others wake up because comfort broke. This was one of those mornings. When the alarm isn't noise, but a message you can't ignore. That alarm wasn't just sound. It was a message. It wasn't saying, get up for work. It was saying, wake up to what you've been avoiding. You can silence a phone. You can't silence that feeling in your gut. How many signs did you brush off before this? How many moments did you excuse? How many times did you tell yourself it was nothing? Hasn't bad luck. This was awareness knocking hard. And once that message lands, you don't go back to sleep the same way. You start seeing things you once ignored. The hour when illusions sleep and truth stands awake. There's something about this hour. When the world is quiet, truth gets loud. This is when stories you told yourself fall apart. This is when comfort loses its grip. Illusions need noise to survive. Truth doesn't. In the dark, without distractions, you finally see clearly. Not what you hoped was true, what actually is. Comfort wants you asleep. Clarity asks you to stand up. This hour doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are. It shows you what's real, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's not waking up the body, that's waking up the mind. Why life only wakes you when something is wrong. Let's be honest. Life doesn't wake you when everything is fine. If things were right, you'd still be sleeping peacefully. Discomfort is not cruelty. It's a signal. It shows up when something needs attention, when something has gone on too long. Avoiding signs doesn't make them disappear. It only makes the wake-up harsher. This moment wasn't sent to hurt you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about something that's foundational to a happy and healthy life, but something many of us struggle with: self-respect. What does that even mean? To me, it's about seeing your own worth, not as something you have to earn, but as something that's inherently yours. It's recognizing that you deserve kindness, understanding, and respect, especially from the person you spend the most time with, yourself. Think about it. How often do you say yes when you really want to say no? How often do you put someone else's comfort ahead of your own peace of mind? We do this because we're taught to be agreeable, to be helpful, to not rock the boat. But when we constantly ignore our own needs, we send a subtle message to ourselves that our needs don't matter. And that's where the erosion of self-respect begins. This brings me to the second part of this conversation: boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls you build to keep people out. They are the guidelines you create to teach people how to treat you. They are the beautiful, strong fences you put up to protect the sacred garden of your well-being. Saying no to a last-minute request when you're already exhausted isn't selfish. It's self-preservation. It's you telling yourself, my rest and my energy are valuable. Setting boundaries can feel incredibly uncomfortable at first, especially if you're a people pleaser. You might worry about disappointing others or being seen as difficult. But here's the truth. The people who truly respect you will respect your boundaries. They might need a moment to adjust, but they will understand. And the ones who push back, who get angry or try to guilt trip you, they are the very reason you need those boundaries in the first place. Their reaction is not a reflection of your worth, but a confirmation that you're doing the right thing for yourself. So how do we start? It begins with small, intentional acts. Start by noticing your own feelings. Before you agree to something, pause. Ask yourself, do I have the time for this? Do I have the energy for this? Do I even want to do this? Your feelings are valid data. Listen to them. Then practice communicating your boundaries calmly and clearly. You don't need to offer a long-winded explanation or an apology. A simple, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't take that on right now," is powerful and complete. Or, "I'm not available to talk after 9 p.m., but I'd love to catch up tomorrow." It's about being firm but kind, both to others and to yourself. This is a journey, not an overnight transformation. There will be times you slip back into old habits, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Each time you honor your own limits, you're planting a seed of self-respect. You're watering it with self-compassion. And over time, you'll see a beautiful, resilient garden begin to flourish within you. You'll start attracting relationships that honor your boundaries because you've learned to honor them yourself. Remember, you are the guardian of your own energy and peace. You have the right to protect it. You are worthy of the same love and consideration you so freely give to others. Start today. Choose you. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this community. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on living a more intentional life. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop, doing the same things every day, hoping for a different result? It's like being on a treadmill. You're running, but you're not actually going anywhere. We all dream of a better life, whether that means more freedom, better health, financial stability, or deeper relationships. But what if I told you the secret to unlocking that life isn't about making one giant leap, but about taking one small, intentional step every single day? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that is fundamentally life-changing: the incredible power of small habits. It sounds simple, almost too simple, right? We're often told to dream big, set huge goals, and go all in. And while big goals are great for direction, they can also be overwhelming and paralyzing. That's where the magic of small habits comes in. Think about it this way. What if you decided to read just one page of a book every night? It seems insignificant, but after a year, you'd have read a 365-page book. What if you decided to save just $1 a day? After a decade, you'd have over $3,600, not even counting interest. It's not about the single action. It's about the cumulative effect of that action over time. This is the principle of compound interest, but applied to your life. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equal radical transformation. So how do we start? The key is to make it so easy you can't say no. This is a concept James Clear talks about in his book, Atomic Habits. He calls it the 2-minute rule. Whatever new habit you want to start, scale it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. Want to start exercising? Your new habit is to put on your workout clothes. That's it. Just 2 minutes. Want to learn a new language? Your habit is to open your language app for 2 minutes. The goal here isn't to achieve mastery overnight. The goal is to build the identity of a person who shows up. When you put on your workout clothes every day, you're becoming the type of person who is consistent with fitness. Once you've established the habit of showing up, it becomes so much easier to extend the duration. That 2 minutes of putting on clothes might turn into a 5-minute walk, then a 10-minute jog, and before you know it, you're running a 5K. Let's get practical. Grab a pen and paper or open a notes app. I want you to write down one area of your life you want to improve. Just one. Now, what is the smallest possible action you can take in that direction? So small it feels almost ridiculous. Want to eat healthier? Maybe your new habit is to drink 1 glass of water before your morning coffee. Want to be more organized? Your habit is to spend 2 minutes tidying one small corner of your desk before you finish work. Remember, the enemy of progress isn't failure. It's inaction. We get so caught up in planning the perfect strategy that we never actually start. By focusing on these tiny, manageable habits, You bypass the part of your brain that resists change. You're flying under the radar of your own self-doubt. Another powerful technique is habit stacking. This means linking your new tiny habit to an existing one. For example, after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will do 1 minute of stretching. After I pour my coffee, I will write down one thing I'm grateful for. You're piggybacking the new behavior onto a routine that's already hardwired into your brain. This makes it almost automatic. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This is too slow. I want results now. I get it. We live in a world of instant gratification. But think of building a great life like building a great cathedral. It doesn't happen in a day. It happens one brick at a time, laid perfectly, day after day, year after year. Your small habits are those bricks. Each one might seem insignificant on its own, but together they build something magnificent and lasting. The beauty of this approach is that it creates a positive feedback loop. When you successfully complete your tiny habit, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, a reward that says, "Hey, that felt good. Let's do it again." This reinforces the behavior and builds momentum. Soon, you're not just doing these things because you have to. You're doing them because you've started to see yourself as a person who does them. You're not just reading a page. You're a reader. You're not just saving $1. You're a saver. Your identity starts to shift. So my challenge for you today is this. Choose your 2-minute habit. Just one. Commit to doing it every day for the next week. Don't worry about the outcome. Just focus on showing up. Post your 2-minute habit in the comments below. I'd love to see what you all are committing to, and we can cheer each other on. This journey of self-improvement isn't about a sudden, dramatic overhaul. It's a quiet, steady, and incredibly powerful revolution of the self, one tiny step at a time. You have the power to design your future, not with grand gestures, but with the small, consistent actions you take today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, give this video a like and consider subscribing for more content on living an intentional and fulfilling life. Now go out there and lay your first brick. See you in the next one. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew you should say something, but you just didn't? Maybe it was at a meeting, in a relationship, or even just with a friend. You held your tongue, telling yourself it wasn't the right time, or maybe that your opinion didn't matter. Well, today we're going to talk about something incredibly important, the hidden cost of staying quiet for too long. And trust me, it's a price none of us can afford to pay. Let's start with a simple, everyday scenario. You're at a coffee shop and the barista gets your order wrong. They give you a regular latte when you ask for oat milk. What do? Many of us would just take it, right? We think, oh, it's not a big deal. I don't want to cause a fuss. They're busy, and on the surface, it's true. It's just a coffee. But what happens when this pattern of not speaking up bleeds into other, more significant areas of our lives? This habit of staying silent often starts small, rooted in a desire to be agreeable, to avoid conflict, or from a fear of being judged. We learn to swallow our words, convincing ourselves it's the path of least resistance. But here's the first major cost, the erosion of your self-worth. Every time you silence your own needs, opinions, or boundaries, you send a subconscious message to yourself that they don't matter. You're telling yourself that other people's comfort is more important than your own truth. Over time, this can chip away at your confidence and make you feel invisible, even to yourself. You start to question your own judgment and your right to even have a voice. Now, let's take this to the workplace. Imagine you're in a brainstorming session. You have a brilliant idea, something you've been thinking about for weeks. But someone else, maybe someone more senior or more outspoken, dominates the conversation. You wait for the perfect moment to jump in, but it never seems to come, so you stay quiet. The meeting ends and your idea dies on your lips. The immediate cost: The team misses out on a potentially game-changing concept, but the long-term cost for you is far greater. You become known as the quiet one, the person who doesn't contribute. Opportunities for a promotion, for leadership, for exciting projects, they start to pass you by. Your career stagnates, not because you lack talent or intelligence, but because you never let anyone see it. Your silence becomes a self-imposed ceiling on your potential. You're essentially letting others write your professional story for you. And it's not just about missed opportunities. Staying quiet when you see something wrong, maybe a process that's inefficient, or a colleague being treated unfairly creates a toxic environment. When good people stay silent, it allows negative behaviors and ineffective systems to continue. Your silence, in a way, becomes a form of consent. It contributes to a culture where people are afraid to speak up, and innovation and morale suffer as a result. The entire organization pays the price for that collective silence. Let's move from the office to our personal relationships, because this is where the cost of silence can be truly devastating. Think about your friendships or romantic partnerships. Healthy relationships are built on open, honest communication. But what happens when you start holding things in? Let's say your partner has a habit that really bothers you. Maybe they're always late, or they interrupt you when you're talking. At first, you let it slide. You don't want to seem needy or start an argument over something small, but that small annoyance doesn't just disappear. It festers, it turns into resentment. You start feeling a little colder, a little more distant. Your partner might sense something is wrong, but they don't know what it is, because you haven't told them. This is the second major cost, the creation of emotional distance. Silence builds invisible walls between people. You think you're keeping the peace, but you're actually planting the seeds of disconnection. The other person can't read your mind. They can't fix a problem they don't know exists. Over time, that small, unspoken issue can grow into a massive chasm that feels impossible to cross. So many relationships end not with a bang, but with the quiet hum of unspoken resentments that have piled up for years. Furthermore, when you don't voice your needs or set boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. If you consistently put your own needs last, others will learn that your needs are not a priority. It's not because they are bad people. It's because you've created a dynamic where your silence is interpreted as agreement or contentment. You end up feeling taken for granted, unappreciated, and unheard. The tragic irony is that by trying to avoid conflict and maintain the relationship, your silence ends up destroying the very intimacy and respect you were hoping to preserve. Now, let's talk about the most personal cost of all, the impact on your mental and physical health. When you constantly suppress your thoughts and emotions, they don't just vanish into thin air. They get trapped inside your body. This internal pressure can manifest as anxiety, stress, and even depression. Think of it like a pressure cooker. If you keep all the steam locked inside with no release valve, eventually it's going to explode, or the cooker itself will break down. That pent-up energy can lead to physical symptoms too. Headaches, digestive issues, high blood pressure, and chronic fatigue. Your body is trying to tell you what your voice won't. It's screaming for you to pay attention. Holding everything in is exhausting. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to constantly monitor yourself, to bite your tongue, to wear a mask of agreeableness when you're feeling anything, but this isn't just a metaphor. It's a physiological reality. The stress hormone cortisol floods your system, and over the long term, this can have serious consequences for your overall health. Speaking your truth isn't just an act of courage, it's an act of self-care. So what do? How do we break the habit of silence? It is not about suddenly becoming the loudest person in every room or picking a fight over every little thing. It's about learning to use your voice strategically and authentically. First, start small. Remember that coffee order? Next time, try politely saying, "Excuse me, I think I ordered an oat milk latte. Could you please check?" The world won't end. In fact, you'll likely get the coffee you wanted, and you'll get a tiny jolt of confidence. These small wins build momentum. Second, understand your why. Before you speak up, ask yourself, why is this important to me? What outcome do I want? When you're clear on your intention, whether it's to improve a process at work, strengthen a relationship, or simply honor your own needs, it gives you the courage to move forward. Your voice becomes a tool for a purpose, not just random noise. Third, practice what you want to say. This might sound silly, but it works. If you have to have a difficult conversation, rehearse it. Say the words out loud to yourself in the car or in front of a mirror. This helps take the fear and uncertainty out of the moment. You'll feel more prepared and less likely to freeze up when it's time to actually speak. And finally, learn to be okay with a little discomfort. Speaking up can feel awkward at first. People might be surprised if you're usually quiet. There might be some pushback. That's okay. Discomfort is often a sign of growth. It's the feeling you get when you re-pushing past your old limits and stepping into a more authentic version of yourself. Remember, the temporary discomfort of speaking up is far less damaging than the long-term pain of staying silent. The cost of staying quiet too long is immense. It costs you your confidence, your career, your relationships, and your health. Your voice is your power. It's the tool you use to shape your world, to connect with others, and to advocate for yourself. Don't let fear silence it. Your ideas deserve to be heard. Your feelings are valid. Your needs matter. It's time to start speaking your truth, not just for others, but for yourself. You owe it to yourself to be heard. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on living a more authentic and empowered life. See you next time. You don't need to ruin everything. You don't need chaos. You simply take back control of what's yours. Keys represent. Access dot and access matters. You decide who enters. You decide what stays. That's not harsh. That's responsible dot the internal shift from being accepted to being respected. There's a quiet shift inside you. You stop wanting to be liked at all. Cost dot you start wanting fairness. Acceptance feels good. Respect less dot this shift changes how you show up dot how you speak dot how you decide. You don't chase, you choose, and that choice brings peace that silence never could. I understood. And I stopped allowing it dot this is the line. You saw what was happening dot you understood the cost and you decided. It ends here dot no speeches dot no warnings. Just a change in what you allow dot, and from that moment on, everything moves differently. Reclaiming authority without becoming bitter power doesn't raise its voice. It lowers the noise. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't rush to explain, justify, or defend. Power enters quietly and changes the temperature of the room without touching the thermostat. When you're grounded in authority, you don't need volume, you need clarity. Chaos feeds on reaction. Authority starves it. The moment you stop matching disrespect with emotion, you take the oxygen away from manipulation. Calm is not passivity. Calm is control. It's the discipline of knowing that your steadiness unsettles people more than your anger ever could. When the noise drops, intention becomes visible. And the one who controls intention controls the outcome. Loud reactions feel strong, but quiet firmness actually is loud. Reactions feel powerful in the moment because they release pressure, but they also leak control. The more animated you become, the more predictable you are. Quiet firmness, on the other hand, is unreadable, and that's where its strength lives. A steady voice, a measured response, a clear boundary held without negotiation, that's not weakness. That's dominance with dignity. Anyone can explode. Not everyone can stand still while enforcing limits. Reaction seeks relief. Restraint commands respect. The strongest people aren't the ones who react fastest, they Read the ones who decide if a reaction is necessary at all. Who told you strength had to be noisy? Who taught you that power looks like intimidation? That authority requires aggression? That being firm means being cruel? Those are borrowed ideas from people who confuse fear with respect. Noise is often a mask for insecurity. When someone truly knows where they stand, they don't need to prove it. Ask yourself, when have you ever seen real authority scramble for attention? It doesn't. It waits. It observes. It moves with intention. Strength doesn't perform. It is. And once you internalize that, you stop trying to look powerful and start being you, Motivational. Real authority doesn't knock. It stands. Authority doesn't. T ask for permission to exist. It doesn't plead for recognition. It doesn't chase validation. Real authority stands rooted, visible, undeniable. You don't need to enter a room demanding respect. You enter already aligned with yourself, and the room adjusts. Presence does more than performance ever could. When you stop knocking, stop explaining, stop over-clarifying, stop justifying, you change the dynamic. People either rise to meet your standard or reveal they never intended to respect it. Either way, you win clarity. Authority isn't about forcing others to comply. It's about refusing to shrink. You don't need to humiliate anyone to reclaim your place. Revenge is not power. Humiliation is not strength. Those are distractions that keep you emotionally entangled with the very people you're trying to outgrow. Reclaiming your place doesn't require tearing someone else down. It requires standing so firmly in your values that disrespect finds no grip. You don't need to embarrass. You need to exit the game. Authority is clean. It doesn't leave emotional debris behind. When you remove bitterness from the equation, your power becomes sustainable. And sustainable power is the kind that lasts. Boundaries spoken once, enforced always. A boundary repeated is a suggestion. A boundary enforced is law. You don't need long speeches. You don't need warnings stacked on warnings. You state the line once clearly, calmly, and then you act accordingly. Consistency is credibility. Every time you bend a boundary to keep peace, you teach others how to ignore you. Every time you enforce it without drama, you teach them where you stand. Authority isn't built through threats. It's built through follow, through dot. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I stood. That's the posture. No debates. No desperation. No emotional bargaining. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I stood. And in that stillness, everything shifted. Because authority doesn't need movement. It needs grounding. When you stand, the world adjusts. Respect is a structure, not a feeling. Respect isn't love, and it isn't familiarity. Love can exist without respect. Familiarity often erodes it. Respect is not warmth, affection, or closeness. It's recognition. It's how people treat your time, your boundaries, your word. When you confuse emotional closeness with respect, you allow behavior that would never survive under clear standards. Someone can care about you and still disregard you. Respect is not how they feel, it's how they act. When you confuse comfort with respect, everything weakens. Comfort feels good, but it can be deceptive. Overcomfort invites shortcuts. Shortcuts invite entitlement. And entitlement corrodes relationships quietly. When rules soften to avoid discomfort, standards blur. What once felt safe begins to feel unstable. Respect doesn't disappear in explosions, it decays through unchecked familiarity. The absence of structure invites erosion, and erosion always starts small. Respect is the foundation. Without it, everything collapses. Respect is load-bearing. It holds communication, trust, and connection in place. Without it, no amount of affection can keep the structure standing. You can decorate a weak foundation, but it will still collapse under pressure. Respect sets the terms. It defines what's acceptable. It protects dignity. When respect is non-negotiable, relationships stabilize. When it's optional, everything becomes fragile. Relationships don't break suddenly, they rot slowly. Most breakdowns aren't dramatic. They're gradual. A comment ignored, a boundary crossed, a pattern tolerated. Rot happens when maintenance stops. When standards go unenforced, decay sets in quietly. By the time the damage is visible, it's already advanced. Respect isn't lost in one moment, it's surrendered in many. What rules have you been afraid to enforce? Which lines did you draw but never defend? Which standards did you soften to avoid tension? Fear of enforcement is fear of losing approval. But approval bought at the cost of respect is always temporary. Ask yourself honestly, what behavior have you been training people to repeat by allowing it? Accountability begins with enforcement. Say less, mean more. Over-explaining weakens authority. Repetition dilutes seriousness. Say less, mean more. Let your actions carry the message your words no longer need to repeat. Respect listens to consistency, not speeches. Consistency builds respect. Drama destroys it. Drama creates attention. Consistency creates trust. Respect grows where behavior is predictable and standards are steady. You don't need intensity, you need alignment. When your actions match your boundaries every time, respect becomes inevitable. Teaching others how to treat you without words, people learn from what you allow, not what you announce. Words are cheap. Actions are the real teacher. People notice what you tolerate far more than what you explain. If disrespect passes unchallenged, it becomes the lesson. If boundaries are enforced calmly and clearly, that's the lesson too. You don't need long conversations. You don't need threats. You need consistent behavior. Every interaction communicates what's acceptable. Every passivity communicates what's allowed. Teaching through action ensures lessons stick. Your conduct sets the expectation, and the world notices more than you think. Your standards are the curriculum everyone studies. Your boundaries are the syllabus. Your responses are the examples. Every action you take teaches people how far they can go. If you bend easily, they learn flexibility means overstepping. If you stand firm, they learn consequences follow action. Standards are not passive. They are education in motion. You don't lecture. You demonstrate. And over time, that demonstration shapes behavior more than any speech ever. Could others learn faster from what you allow than from what you explain? Explaining weakens what demonstrating proves. Talking too much dilutes impact. Explaining creates loopholes. Demonstrating closes them. Words invite debate. Actions invite recognition. When you act clearly, people adjust or reveal their intent. When you speak endlessly, they test your boundaries. Authority is shown, not justified. Your consistency proves what words cannot. Demonstration solidifies rules where explanation only introduces doubt. Let your silence carry. Rule silence is a weapon few understand. It says more than 1,000 warnings. It communicates seriousness without arguing. Let your stillness be the standard. Let absence of reaction guide behavior. You don't need applause or acknowledgement. Your calm enforces limits. Your consistency teaches without saying a single word. What lesson are you teaching right now? Every moment carries instruction. Every pause, every response, every choice teaches people how they are allowed to treat you. Ask yourself right now, am I showing boundaries or tolerating oversteps? Am I demonstrating strength or weakness? Every action speaks louder than explanation.